These days, abortion rights in the United States hang in a more precarious balance than they ever have in the last 40 years. Over the past decade, right-wing legislatures in states from Maine to Arizona have passed laws that make getting an abortion more expensive and more complicated. They've passed laws whose sole goal is to shame people who get abortions, like by making them get ultrasounds of the fetus. And now we have a vice president who says Roe v. Wade, the groundbreaking 1973 Supreme Court decision that made abortion a right nationwide, the one that I grew up reading about in my school books as some sort of past era that's all resolved now, our vice president says that decision should be consigned to the, quote, ash heap of history. A year ago, when he was governor of Indiana and not occupying a wing of the White House, Mike Pence signed into law sweeping restrictions on abortion access in the state, including a provision that required aborted fetuses to be buried or cremated, like some sort of horrible mini funeral. Ugh. For his part, Donald Trump seems hazy on what criminalizing abortion actually means. He says over and over that abortion should be banned, but when someone like Chris Matthews asks him directly what that means for U.S. law, he gives rather incoherent answers.
This is not something you can dodge. If you say abortion is a crime or abortion is murder, you have to deal with it under the law. Should abortion be punished?
Well, people in certain parts of the Republican Party and conservative Republicans would say, yes, they should be punished.
How about you?
I would say that it's a very serious problem, and it's a problem that we have to decide on. It's very hard.
But you're for banning it. Are you going
to say, well, wait, are you going to say put them in jail? Is that
well,
the
no, what I'm asking you, because you say you want to ban it. What's that mean?
I am pro-life, yes.
What is ban? How do you ban abortion? How do you actually do it?
Well, you'll go back to a position like they had where people will perhaps go to illegal places,
yeah,
but you have to ban it.
Make no mistake. Banning abortion will mean sending people to jail when they get abortions or when they perform them. That's not like a gray area that should be hard for the president to understand. This all brings up the question, do Republicans know what will happen if abortion is once again made illegal? Do they actually know what that means? Many people know all too well.
What's the punishment if you do get an abortion, if you're somebody that goes to the hospital, let's say, and a doctor thinks you've had an abortion? What's the punishment for that? Like, how long can you go to jail for?
If you've never had a problem with the police or the law, it can get up to 3 or 5 years of prison.
That's Estefania Sepulveda, a Chilean journalist.
Hi, my name is Estefania Sepulveda, and I work as a journalist for El Mostrador, a Chilean news website.
I spent a month in Chile this winter and wound up talking to many feminists there about abortion rights. Chile is a country that's a lot like the United States in some ways. Young people there know more about House of Cards than I do. But abortion is entirely illegal. This is the kind of country that Mike Pence and other Republicans want to create. A country where getting an abortion will land you in prison. Chile is far from alone. While there are only 6 countries in the world that ban abortion with no exceptions, like Chile does, there are many, many countries where it's very hard to obtain a legal abortion. According to abortion access group Women on Web, about 25% of the world's population lives in countries with super restrictive abortion laws, from Ireland to Egypt. But it's especially interesting to focus on Chile right now, because the country is on the cusp of change. After 30 years of trying, reproductive rights advocates are finally on the verge of passing a law that would legalize abortion in some cases. For this episode, we're taking a look at the reality in this one country, Chile. What happens in a country where abortion is criminalized? Who bears the punishment? How does it affect people's lives? Donald Trump seems willfully ignorant about the details of what banning abortion will mean. So, let's talk about it. People have been performing abortions for all of human history. Making abortion illegal doesn't stop it. As Chile's experience shows, when abortion is illegal, one thing determines whether or not you can safely get the procedure: money.
Does it feel like the law is different if you're rich or if you're poor?
Yes, 100%.
More than maybe anyone else, Carolina Vero Burgos knows the flip side of Chile's abortion laws, the reality rather than what's officially in the books.
Mi nombre es Carolina Vera Burgos y soy licenciada en arte.
She's the head of Línea Aborto Libre, a free hotline that provides information about abortion.
For us, it's important to talk about abortion and to give information to women who need to interrupt a pregnancy within 12 weeks of gestation. That's our job, to give information to women who want to get abortions. It's your body, it's your choice. It shouldn't be anyone else's decision, especially a man's.
The hotline volunteers walk a fine line. It's not illegal to talk about abortion methods and how they work. It is illegal to tell someone where they can actually get one. From all the phone calls she receives, it's obvious to Carolina how the system works in a country where abortion is illegal.
Yeah, obviously. The poor women die and the rich women go on vacations to Europe or Uruguay or wherever place they have contact with family or a friend of a friend of a friend, and they can get an abortion and pass it off as vacation.
The poor women die, the rich women go on vacation. It doesn't get any more straightforward than that. So leaving the country to get abortions abroad is one reality when abortion is illegal. Another option, if you have money, is to go to a private clinic that secretly performs them. Journalist Estefania Sepulveda explains how this works.
Because there are clinics and hospitals that are private that will not tell you publicly that they will perform abortions, but they just put it under other names, such as having an appendix problem or a spontaneous abortion.
Getting an abortion in a private clinic is extremely expensive. And more than that, you need to know someone. They don't advertise or use code words, so usually the doctor is an upper-class friend of the family, says Estefania. That's exactly what Carolina's seen too.
It's a class issue. Obviously, it's a class issue. Here in Chile, there are clinics where you can go, and for 2 million pesos, you can get an abortion, and they'll check you in under whatever name you want and say you had appendicitis. Rich women get abortions without the risk of death. Poor women also get abortions, but they risk death to do it.
The existence of these private clinics is an open secret, one that people in the government hate to admit. Last year, Chile's health minister, Elia Molina, called out the double standard in the abortion law in an interview. In support of legalizing abortion in some cases, she said, quote, "In all upper-class clinics, many conservative families have had their daughters abort. People with money do not need laws because they have the resources." People went ballistic about that statement. She was forced to resign.
So it's something that we all know, but it's something that no one wants to take care of.
For people who can't afford to leave the country on, quote, vacation, and who can't afford to secretly get an abortion at a private clinic, there's a scarier and more dangerous option, a DIY abortion. I guess in my mind, I thought of clandestine abortions as happening like they do in historical documentaries or in fictional movies, like with a literal coat hanger or under the scalpel of a dirty knife wielded by someone like Tobey Maguire in Cider House Rules. That does happen, but these are modern times, says Carolina. Almost everyone who calls Línea Aborto Libre has one question. Where can I get the pills? The pills are misoprostol, a medication that was invented to treat stomach ulcers, but that, it turns out, also induces abortion. When taken correctly, it's a relatively safe way to get an abortion when you have no other options. But the risks are real in Chile, because the only way to buy it is on the black market.
Whenever we're talking to the women, we try to be as delicate and loving as possible, because obviously they're going through a really bad time.
Hotline volunteers will send women to resources, like the website for international abortion rights group Women on Waves, that explain how the pills work, how to identify them, and what side effects they can expect. But they don't tell women where to buy the pills. Nowhere is 100% safe in Chile.
In Chile,
I can't trust anyone. Many women turn to the illegal market, and there, for really high prices, they sell pills that are fake.
In other places, the wholesale cost of misoprostol is about $2 a dose. But Carolina says that women tell her all the time in Chile that it costs about $120 to $150 a dose. That's a week's income if you're working for minimum wage in the country. A big expense. According to the World Health Organization, misoprostol is about 80% effective at inducing abortions before 12 weeks. But there can be complications, and you have to take a series of pills at the right time. Even if everything goes perfectly, getting an abortion this way without the help of any doctor can be scary. You start bleeding, and some of the side effects are nausea and vomiting. And if something does go wrong, in Chile, going to the hospital can mean going to jail.
Because if you run across a doctor who's a Catholic, they are going to tell the police that you have broken the law. And that's another thing that we have to think. Like, first of all, I don't want to have this baby. And second of all, if I try not to have this baby, then I'm going to go to prison. So that's a lot of pressure to put into just one woman.
This has led to a whole movement in Chile called Con Amigas y en la Casa, with friends and at home. It's a feminist network of women who will go to the home of someone who's inducing an abortion and just sit with them, supporting them through the process and keeping an eye out for any potentially dangerous side effects. Estefania interviewed someone who had accompanied their friend through an in-home abortion. She told me what the experience was like.
It's really hard to put into words because it's like having the most intimate experience with a friend, having something that is so secret and so pure and that would help out a friend with such sacrifices that you're facing. So she describes it as an experience that made her friendship stronger.
So that's the reality when abortion is illegal. Friends come together to support each other. People step up in really brave and compassionate ways to care for and educate others. But class divisions draw a line that can mean life or death.